Welcome to another stream. Hopefully I've got everything all in place that's working. Let's talk about the topic, which is learning automated trading with options, and that's future on options, not stock options. So hopefully people can hear me, comments are enabled, and all that. We'll find out as I go through this. All right, so as it stands right now, with options, you get a lot of predictability. People may not know, but I do have a course available, my website, quantlabsnet.com. This goes over all these topics, just so you know. So with options, it's probably one of the best assets or asset classes to trade. It's predictable. It's consistent. If you know how to do it right, you can do quite well. That course kind of goes through everything. So there is that. Now, also, I did state this on Twitter, and I did say it's probably one of the best asset classes for wealth creation because of the predictability. Let me know if you can hear me. Just press 1 in the comments. I'd be appreciated. If you can comment at all. All right, so coming back to with the wealth as well. So with the options, there you go, cool. Appreciate that, Mr. Dborn53. So that's great that people can comment. I'm just going to take 5 minutes to go through all the topics here, because that's what some may expect when they watch this live later on. Okay, so when it comes to wealth creation at scale, I believe that is truth. Just due to the fact that options give predictability when done right. This is what a lot of high-frequency trading firms do. Also, all the hedge funds do. They all trade mostly futures right now. So if you're trading equities with this Iranian war thing, you probably kind of notice the stocks aren't going up as much as they should. And that's because, everything's going down. There's a lot of concern in the stock markets. But there's a lot of money to be made in the options space, along with futures. But when you add in the options, as I said, done right, you can amplify your profit potential. I won't say into infinity, but quite a bit. You could just scale it. I'll leave it at that. Also, with options, when done right, I've built out a complete trading system now where I'll pick out, it'll basically do an option chain discovery, and then from there I'll choose the most optimal trading option chain for whatever is interested. I might do a video on this. I haven't done it yet. And so because of that, it just brings in a lot of certainty in your trading. It's all forward-looking. That's why it's quite efficient, predictable, because when it comes to one of the big secrets in trading is always looking forward, using forward-looking data. So with options, you get Greek analysis on what's happening among all the option chains, which are set out as far as a year and a half, based on pawn volumes. You can do Greek analysis on that, and you can also do. Thank you, Mr. CNN. You can also do analysis with implied volatility, and that's key now, especially when you're in a volatile environment. And I'm finding that's tradable right now with this war going on, all energy, not so much gold. Bitcoin, you'd be surprised when you get the timing right. Some treasury as well. So with options, you can kind of do really well with it. And when you lay down the future contract or a different variety, you can set as a baseline to protect your downside as well. So there's a lot of effectiveness here. With prediction, it's all based upon what I just said, because you're using forward-looking data and the different types of things you can do, specifically on Greek analysis. With option trades now, to trade options in an automated way is very difficult. I will say I'm still in the process, believe it or not, still debugging this. I've got it working. To get it working consistently, it's been about 10 days now. I had to pretty well double my AI budget to get this job done. I know it can be done. Just it's a lot of mechanics involved. If you got questions on that, let me know. Also, I mentioned there's a course available to do it manually, which is kind of hard. You have to be automated. One thing I'll mention here as well, I've just put up 2 new products on my website, hftcode.com. They're now posted, public. And basically what they are, I'm going to get this tonight, and I've been getting it for a lot. And the first course, it's not really courses, it's like what I put out before using AI, but using Kilo AI, okay? With Kilo AI, they just brought out a major upgrade and it screwed up my settings, so I just abandoned ship on that. I've pretty well kind of gone all in with Claude and Anthropic and Claude Code, Claude Desktop. I'm pretty comfortable with it. For what it can do, it's expensive, but the productivity you get out of it's pretty immense. So as I said, with this new thing I've got, it's similar to what I put out a few months ago. And what it is just basically a set of code. There's a server edition. There's 4 sample bots that are used for stock trading, Forex and gold trading with interactive brokers. It's all set up, ready to go. It interfaces with Claude, and it's pretty sophisticated for what you pay. And then, hey, DMash8452, give me a second. We'll take care of the questions in a minute. And then the second product out of that is specifically for career. Okay, so there's a duplicate, plus I put out 2 new PDFs which will engage on how to get whatever your position is, or if you're interested in this quant trading, HFT coding, blah, 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 all that stuff. There's a specific product for that. Again, that's on hftcode.com. I do have a right now live 50% discount code if you want it. If you want to get it now, it's the code is HALF, half, HALF when you apply it on discount. Greetings from Brazil, thank you. Hello, Ronald, Osilo, TLV. Anyway, so you can get that if you're really interested learning career, automated trading. That leads into what I've got with all these bots and stuff. Obviously, mine's a lot more sophisticated, and it works with Claude, which is the most advanced AI out there, and I think it will be for quite the while. So again, that's at hftcode.com. And the discount, 50% off, and it runs until Friday, is half, HALF, when you check out. Okay, we're done. So if you just missed, watch this at the beginning. I spend like 8 minutes on option trading. Yeah, so if you got questions, let's line them up and get them all put up in the comments. I appreciate that. And let me give you some updates what's happening. Our good friend here that's been on every single thing for a number of years now, he sent me a notice on there's now a video on DeepSeek 4. Okay, a guy claims he had access to the early versions of DeepSeek 4. Apparently it might be publicly available if you go in the chat part on deepseek.com. So you can get a taste of the DeepSeek 4, there's a intent and advanced tab, research tab, or that's supposed to be the DeepSeek 4 component. The tests that have come back from this person that's taken some of my prompts, it's nowhere as good as Claude. I do realize this is not an official release yet. I do realize this could be just a chat light mode like with Claude AI. So it's not very sophisticated. There might be an API available. I'm sure there'll be a pro edition available, and that will make it a lot more sophisticated with DeepSeek 4. So right now, DeepSeek 4 versus Claude. Claude's still by a long shot a lot more advanced from what I'm seeing from the video and this person that kind of played with it. So not quite there yet. And I do believe in a few weeks, Claude 5 may be coming out, and that's going to be a big-time game changer, and I might have to double up my AI budget again to $600 a month. I'm already spending now, signed up for $300 a month. Believe it or not, that's how serious I take this. So there we go. If you guys got questions, let me know. I can talk more about the Claude stuff and Claude code. So as I said, with these two new things that I put out at hftcode.com, they use Claude, specifically Claude code. There are instructions with these PDFs on how to change the different Claude models. I've been playing with Claude Haiku, which is the lowest cost model. It's still kind of expensive. And then they push the Sonnet 4.5 as well, which is the mid-grade model. And then there is the Opus, which is the very expensive model. From what I'm seeing with the Opus 4.6, there's nothing else that can debug as well as it can. When you combine it with the traditional vibe coding, and you don't know what you're doing technically, we are getting to a point where you can probably lay down a code base, orchestrating they call it, or scaffolding a basic system. And with Claude 4.6, you can now pretty well debug it. It's really good at finding bugs and offering suggestions. So how I do Claude, or how I use Claude code, I'm using the VS Code extension for Claude code. Makes life a lot better. I've used pretty well all of them now. I've used Klein, Kilo AI, I've used Rue, I've used, what's the other one? Windsurf. Claude code, man. I cannot, I'm too addicted to it. But Claude 4.6, it's powerful. I really think it's changed everything in terms of coding, as programming, as the career path of coding and programming. And it puts coding at a much lower priority now. That's where we're going. I think we're already there with Claude 4.6. Got questions on that? Let me know. Thanks for the like as well. If you want, just type up your questions. I'm gonna sit here waiting for everybody to get their questions out. That's the whole point of this. So with Claude, it's very good. I have said it's very expensive. Yes, it is. But I'm very interested to see the cost of DeepSeek 4 come out. I've just started playing with the new Gemma 4. It has enormous potential as a free open source model. I can break it, no problem. Just asking certain types of prompts, very sophisticated prompts, Gemma 4 will break. I can do the same thing with the new Qwen 3.6 Pro. I could break that pretty easy too. Because my prompts are getting much more sophisticated. My prompts can be 2,000 lines. And I can attach all kinds of crazy stuff to it, like PDFs and HTML files and even image files where you would hope that they work and can decipher what you're trying to figure out. And each model, each LLM's different and has its own advantages. But right now, Claude all the way. Gemini's got some interesting model, or Gemini itself are pretty good. OpenAI, I think, seems to be falling behind. That's if you're willing to pay top premium price for Claude and the productivity you get out of Claude. There's that. Any other questions so far? Let me bring it back to the options now. Now, as I said, part of these new products they put out with the career path, I want to stress something very, very important. I know that there's a lot of so-called gurus out there, all these YouTubers putting out all this quant coding stuff and courses and tips and using coaches. With Claude, I do believe that you don't need to pay for any of that at all. Okay, in one of my PDFs that I did put out, It's a 106-page tutorial, all created, of course, by Claude, with the code base that's provided for interactive brokers. So you can get started that for any level. I even have a tutorial on there how to install everything. The only thing is, it's not going to teach you how to use Python. You could probably learn on in parallel with it. It's not sophisticated, but the thing is with it, it shows you how to prompt properly from a code base to build what you want. And this is, again, going up against Interactive Brokers, which is probably the most accessible broker out there globally, with over, 150 countries, whereas other big brokers will limit you to maybe 5 countries in the West. So that's why I use Interactive Brokers. Now, the key thing with the options trading, all the different types of jobs out there, everyone says, I want to be a quant researcher, I want to be a quant coder. I will tell you right now, those are good paying jobs if you can get a job in one of these firms. I have shown examples in this tutorial PDF, specific firms, what they look for in interview process, what they ask and what they focus on and prioritize in interviewing processes among the 4 or 5 different firms out there. So, for instance, Rentec, they focus more on your thought process and how you scientifically come up with problems instead of just focusing on what you know, just as an example. Anyhow, all the different job levels in quant trading, HFT, coding, hedge funds, and all the like. I have said this before. The number one highest paying career path you want to go after is portfolio management. If you get these things at hftcode.com, it will highlight how to get into that mindset. And where you want to go is with portfolio management. And now with AI, and it's getting so sophisticated, there's now the role of systematic portfolio manager. As that becomes more mature, I think what's going to start to happen, there will no longer be a need for quant coders, quant researchers, because now the systematic portfolio managers have enough scale, enough productivity that they can leverage out of sophisticated AI models and be able to generate high-speed, very optimized code on top of laying in all their algorithms and . So that's probably going to be the only position that a lot of these firms will have, where each trader, call it systematic portfolio manager, will get a portfolio, kind of like a modern, more sophisticated way of how prop firms work, prop trading firms, I should say. So that is probably what's going to happen. Now, the surprising thing is with these positions, it's Claude, basically said that if you're a portfolio manager and you're a large multi-billion-dollar firm, you're probably going to be managing $500 million, maybe $1 billion. Those top-notch systematic portfolio managers are making, I hope you're sitting down for this, up to $50 million. It's not uncommon for them with their total compensation to make $5 million. But if you're a large-scale portfolio manager, you can make up to $50 million. And that is where you want to go. That should be your end goal, especially if you're young, coming out of PhD level, and really showcasing your performance here and skills with AI, especially a more sophisticated AI like Claude. And more important thing is to get into the mindset of how these firms work and how they operate and how they perform. Because when you go into interviews like that, you will be looked after or picked off by recruiters. And what I'm finding also is where you showcase everything. I've talked about how to get yourself noticed on LinkedIn. You can reach some pretty far and wide senior people in these firms, or at least in the recruiting firms. And also if you have a GitHub as well to showcase your coding skills, portfolio management skills, quant trading skills, research specifically in your GitHub, you could probably get recruited pretty easily as well. So, as I said, I'm just blabbing here, waiting for people to come up with some questions as well. So that's where things are at for the career path. I think it's radically going to change very quickly. I actually put up a post on my blog today about how the old way of doing things and how to get into quant trading as a career has radically changed. I think it's still important to get your career in a PhD level and a Ivy League school. That matters because a lot of firms, big firms, will probably not take you and move you up into higher levels, because you have to remember, when it comes to investors, clientele investing into these firms, they want to make sure that their money is being deployed into professionals. So if they're going to have some of these so-called rogue traders that operate out of a garage, and they call them basement quants, a lot of the investors, the big family funds, those types, may not want to invest in those firms if they know that they don't have properly educated traders, researchers, and coders. And it's going to get more sophisticated as well, as there's just so many of these family funds out there as well. So education is important. I don't care who you listen to, but let's just be blunt. If you are doing this for your own self-interest and you want to be an independent quant trader, that's different. But if you're trying to get into this for a career, there's going to be some big hoops you'd have to pass through, I would think. Anyways, wait for questions. If you guys got questions, I can blab all night if I wanted. But let's get some questions, folks. I'm here to respond to all. If you're new, don't be shy. What I will say for you is, if you're new, I'd refer you to the hftcode.com website for all those things I've kind of announced. And those are designed with full intent, with people that are just brand spanking new to the world of automated trading, have an interest in quant with the career in mind. So that's all been designed. I got 4 or 5 PDFs there. They're quite lengthy to cover everything for most people. And that's probably what I'll point people to now. Oh, we got Mr. JDI always has questions, doesn't he? Are the RSS news feeds useful for intraday trading of stocks? Yes, they are. It depends on how you prompt your AI. What I'm finding with I haven't really changed the prompting on my RSS news feeds at all, but I have seen, and I might add this as a feature down the line, is sometimes with the crazy volatility, a lot of the big HFT firms, institutions, will use ETFs. Okay, so stocks, I'm not answering there, but ETFs, specifically on volatility, precious metal kind of ETFs, and they use those as metrics to help in their analysis. So I might add in there as an automation to integrate with interactive brokers to buy and sell ETFs related around the news events as well. So I may do that. And there are some particular stocks that are mentioned, so I might be able to add that. So for instance, since yesterday, when it was still a positive market, the only mentioned stocks that were moving were the traditional big processing hardware stocks like NVIDIA, AMD, TSMC were talked about. Also, some of the AI as well were talked about. Companies. So there is mention of certain companies in there if it's around news events, namely stock reporting or stock performance and calls, and that those can sometimes get mentioned. That's currently how I prompt it. So yes, I can add that if I want, but I think there's more activity on the ETFs, or call it equity. But with the ETFs for sure, I might start posting some sample analysis on that if people are interested in that. Yeah, so I might integrate that because I do know futures and options fairly sophisticated for a lot of people. So if they're just looking for like ETF calls and what's being bought and sold, I can build that in to my automation and automatically integrate it into Interactive Brokers for sure. So I might do that. Ooh, new DMAS B. Okay, so he's got a question. I'm completely new to quant trading and have no coding experience, but can pick up relatively quickly, I think. I'm not looking for a career in the field. Personal trading, only 5 years of futures. Am I completely out of my depth, and where can I start? Well, I've kind of already mentioned that for you. Just go to the website at hftcode.com and just look into the 2 new products I put out. It includes everything, Interactive Brokers, works with Python, the AI trading stuff. It's all current and up to date, and learn from there. And then you're using Claude, probably, as I said, the best AI out there. And everything, you're using what's there to work from as a code base. And then you can prompt from there for what you want to build out your own type of strategy. I mean, I have to say, with what I've seen with Claude Code, it's really brilliant, where you can intuitively talk to the AI, call it, and just say, build me a, like there's 4 sample strategies in it. And the prompts were very simple that I have with this product at hftcode.com. All I just said is, make me a SMA crossover strategy with NVIDIA. And it built it, just like that, and interface it with Interactive Brokers, TWS, Trader Workstation. It's that simple. So from there, you can add on new functions with that Python script, and Claude Code will do all that for you. It's unreal of where we're at. And when I say use native English, I'm not joking when it can do it. Like that's what I'm saying. The days of coding, it's coming. I think it's already coming to an end because it's so sophisticated. Like, you just speak intuitively into Claude Code with VS Code, the editor, and it will put everything together. Or if you want to use a complete template, you can just say, use this set of code, interface it with TWS, to Trader Workstation from Interactive Brokers. It'll do it for you. It takes care of all your configuration. It's unreal. And again, if you want to get an intro to that, it's at hftcode.com. So, yeah, we're already there. It's kind of hard to say if you can build stuff like that with sophisticated futures and options trading. But I wouldn't be surprised that the answer is yes. The capabilities are there. But you have to still stress test and all that. But as I said, the ability to build things so easily with native English, it's incredible. One thing I'll also mention is I'm leveraging now for the last few weeks MCP servers. Nothing to do with trading, but I will mention this, is that somebody has built an MCP server for a trading view. So I wouldn't be surprised in the near future, hopefully TradingView will build out a MCP server. If they do that and you have the ability to use AI to connect into TradingView and just speak native English to it to tell you what you want it to do, and maybe build out a Pine script for you, strategy or indicator, it's like, that's going to be not just a game changer, that will be, wow, I don't even know where to go with that. But I wouldn't be surprised TradingView's probably at that point, or a lot of the big popular trading platforms are kind of doing that. Just which one will be first will be the question. But those are very good questions. Dimaz B says, how much coding do you think I need to get into HFT automated trading? Well, that's the misconception with all the HFT stuff. Because people think that they can trade with MetaTrader, let's say, which is obviously not true. It's a very low level, very sophisticated set of coding. It depends if you're using FPGA boards or using C++. It can be done. Not saying it can't be, especially now with AI. But I think it depends upon your experiences for coding. If you're doing everything what I'm mentioning in Python, and everything I've mentioned is in Python, it's very doable. But as you want to learn C++, which is a very serious language, it's hard. It's a very complicated language. It's like the comparison of, it's like checkers. It's easy to understand, but very difficult to master. That's C++. But depending upon your work ethic, you could probably learn. I won't say master C++, but you may be able to get to a point where you can generate really decent code with it for a sophisticated trading system. But I do think it's kind of pointless, because unless you have a large trading account, I mentioned this before, unless you have a very large trading account, like minimum $500,000, true high frequency trading is not going to give you anything, because and I speak from experience, because it's kind of like trying to kill a fly with a sledgehammer, right? It's just too overkill. But if you're just starting small with Python, medium frequency, that's probably where I start. But if you have a big account, that's a different conversation. Just to set the expectation there, and reality as well. Welcome, Aaron. I appreciate you being here. Lux Algo Quant does the PineScript really well from native English and images. Lux Algo, I remember them on PineScript. The question is, are they using AI? Or if they have a capability of that? Because I remember Lux Algo were very advanced in TradingView. I'd be interested to see that. Just email me whatever information you got, Aaron. I appreciate that. Just so you know, Aaron, mention on go to hftcode.com and see the 2 new products I put out. As you're one of my members, just to put that out for anybody else, long-standing member, email me as well, and I'll give you a discount code so you don't have to pay for this stuff. Okay? Yeah, so I'll definitely hook you up there. Okay, who else got some questions here? These are good questions. But as I said, things have radically changed since I've started with... no problem, Aaron. Yeah, so everything's radically changed with this Claude code. And if Aaron's saying that this Lux Algo's got some interesting things with AI with TradingView, that might be worth looking into, to be honest. The problem with TradingView, it's very limited, like severely limited as a platform. Like you couldn't build out sophisticated options with futures on top of that. And again, the other problem, it's done in PineScript. And there virtually is no trading platform can do what I'm doing. So to bring everybody up to date, if you're new included, I now have the capability for the last couple of weeks to be able to dynamically, the keyword here, dynamically, build out automated trading strategies, automated trading bots, however you want to define them, and be able to generate code from that based upon news events. And it does it very sophisticated. It's now at a point where it's very sophisticated. It's done now flawlessly with Claude code. And more importantly, it's now interfacing with real option chain data for the futures market, which is, I haven't seen anything yet out there in the market that can do this with option chain. And not just that, but as I said earlier, do discovery of all the available option chains out there for a particular future contract, be able to go through it, and then be able to optimally figure out what is the best option chain to go with, and then build out a dynamic trading strategy bot to deploy on that based upon news. For the last 2 days, it's usually generating about 12 trading bots built with the options as well. I'll make a video on this just so people can see it. It's really top-notch stuff. If you got questions, let me know. In fact, let me put it this way. In fact, I've mentioned about LinkedIn. One of the people since last week has been trolling me really classic way. But it's this position that blows my mind. This guy is from BlackRock. He's a senior, was in the past, was a senior director doing quant and AI as his job, I guess. He was 4 years doing this. So this guy's trolling me, putting the face palm on what I'm putting out on LinkedIn. He's also saying this is not possible. He's clearly not watching my stuff. But I think personally the guy's kind of terrified of what's coming out from what I'm putting out, because he's trying to build out a business, trying to do the same thing what I'm doing. But now I'm showing people how to dynamically create their own trading bots for not just futures, but also with options. And it's very, very valuable info and skills to have that, because it doesn't exist. I don't think. I'm sure somebody will figure it out, but right now nobody's doing what I'm doing. Plus, I wouldn't release this kind of stuff anyways. So, but again, if you want to learn how to build this out, the hftcode.com, the two newest things I put out, is definitely a good baseline to work from for that. It doesn't matter what your level is, really. Okay, lots of questions coming in so far. That's good. I appreciate all that. Anybody else got any questions? Again, if you're new, you know where I'll point you to hftcode.com. If you want to check that out, I do have a 50% discount code on that till Friday, just so people know. So I'm trying to figure out who my paying market is. Is it traders? Is it actual coders? Or is it traders with little coding skills that want to get into automated trade? I'm just trying to figure all that out. So I'll be putting out some interesting polls and stuff to really clearly understand my market and who my paying market is, obviously. So who else is out there? Let me know. Got questions or comments even. Maybe that BlackRock guy might be on this stream for all I know. If he is, hit me up. What else can I mention here? Yeah, so because I have the options trading stuff working, just alone on what I've got, it is very valuable. So the prices are going up, just to let people out there. So the guy from BlackRock made a post on LinkedIn about the stuff you have been trading about. JDI. No, he hasn't. He just sent me posts that I put up on my profile, and the first two times was just the typical face palm emoticon, which I guess is supposed to be insulting. And then I said, what's this about? What are you trying to communicate? And then he finally communicated back in a comment on one of my LinkedIn profile posts. He said, this is not, because it's all simulated data I'm using. So in the simulated data, it's like if you're a real trading firm where you're going to deploy $360,000. This is how your expected returns will be. These are all based upon predictability, how you should allocate that portfolio based upon a snapshot in time of all this news. So that's how I'm posting right now all my data to all my members. They have access to it. And I can also run pretty well in real time the charts. I think I've shown the dashboards as well in JavaScript that shows you what's trading in a simulated mode. And since late last week, nothing's profitable. Nothing is profitable because of the crazy stuff going on in the Mideast. So it's very difficult to get something that's profitable right now. And I'll be working as of tomorrow to optimize that. But yes, JDI, that is what's been happening. It's just somebody trolling at that level. It's kind of funny, in fact. But I take it as a badge of honor, to be honest. So if anybody new or who's already out there got a question, let me know. There was another thing about, as I said, about the options trading, about how it's the number one wealthy thing to use. One guy on Twitter said, "Oh, that's a red flag," blah 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 blah, and it's like, dude. He's hinting that I'm some form of scammer. Scammers do not make themselves available on live YouTube streams at all. And if he did, he's very welcome to be part of this conversation. So when you get trolls, not like months ago originally on YouTube, that kind of trolling. It's more people at a certain level of their experience, like this BlackRock guy. It's like he's the gatekeeper that we, the peons, have to go through to verify if what he puts out works or not. And we have to pay the price of whatever he's got as a service or as a product. We have to pay in the thousands because he's from the almighty BlackRock. It's the same thing with Apple. I used to go to conferences where Apple was there, and they would like be there like Steve Jobs clones with their little black neck. What do you call them? Those shirts, those turtlenecks. And they all snobby and stuff. We do not send out product and email. It's like, ooh, real snob. Like BlackRock's got to be the same way, I find, as well. And all the elitist traders, the multi-billion-dollar traders right now. So there's that. So if you guys got any questions, comments, let me know. But yeah, I've got that thing on hftcode.com. So I don't want to keep mentioning it. It sounds like I'm trying to constantly pitch. Well, obviously I am. We got to eat, right? I don't want to be one of those useless eaters down the road. If people haven't been watching the conspiracy stuff. If you haven't been on my LinkedIn profile, yesterday I put a photo of a bunch of bananas having tinfoil hats. So that's how much conspiracy theories we have. We have to protect the bananas from all the conspiracies I come up with. Just go on my LinkedIn profile, you know what I mean? I'm posting some funny stuff. I'm trying to be a comedian here. So you'll have to take all this stuff seriously. But what's happening in potential Iran tonight. I'm just happy to be where I'm at with the options. DBB Born, what is the difference between the course in HFT versus the one in Quant Labs Net? The HFTcode.com is hands-on coding, hands-on AI to get you set up and get you running. I did mention if you go on my quantlabsnet.com site and you go under more and then choose courses, there's a bunch of stuff there. The one course I'm mentioning is just an actual learning about the foundations of futures and options. There's a little bit of coding in there, but that's to prioritize the institutional way of deploying futures and options. And yeah, that's the right way to trade, I think, if you have a big enough account. That's a very good question, but generally that's what it is. And I've got lots of other stuff, but right now, most of the people that come through are new, asking questions, so I put the test to them, say, hey, here's a couple of things you can do, you can apply it, get yourself up and running fairly quickly, and it costs you maybe $50, let's say. And what I'm finding is a lot of people don't want to even do that. And generally, the people that do not implement stuff, they don't get anywhere. And now, with where we're at, people are not able to find jobs, especially in coding and technology. With AI, that pretty well can do everything, and I'm convinced of that now. It's going to get harder. And the only way to get through it is entrepreneurship. And the other one is via trading. So people will be forced to do something. I hate to say it, unless you want to become a useless eater, which you don't want to become. And basically, people will be forced to do this, unfortunately. And everything comes down to motivation and be able to implement things as well. As I keep saying, what I'm trying to do is trying to build out a private community that's not affected by anything, social media, search engines, so on and so forth. Like in terms of trying to make it censorship free, we'll call it, and have a community of people in there. AI will not be able to replicate that, blah, 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 blah. So that's the goal here. Can this HFT be applied to crypto as well? Yes. Actually, I forgot to mention that. If you go into hftco.com and you want to learn about career, there's a whole, like there's three PDFs in there that guide you through how to do interviews with crypto trading firms. Very unique questions I've never seen before, all generated by AI, and what certain firms look for via these type of questions. So yes, there is crypto in there, specifically, very specific on different types of altcoins like Near, other ones built around, well, do you use Bitcoin, Ethereum and I forget all the different blockchains. So there's questions like that. So yeah, it's all kind of covered. And these are the institutional level. Now I know there's a lot of interest in crypto. As I said before, a lot of the volume now is driven by institutions, specifically in Bitcoin and CME. Up until last week when I started looking, when I was just only viewing futures only, you're kind of like guessing on what's happening in the pricing of Bitcoin and Ethereum. When you start applying options, specifically in the CME level, and seeing what the big trading firms are, how they're trading Bitcoin and Ethereum, and also remember now they're using Bitcoin and Ethereum as a set of ways to look for correlation against other instruments like oil or gold, or different types of currencies. They also use it for hedging now, and that impacts price. So institutions will have a much greater control over price direction of Bitcoin, and that has an impact on the price. Because if you're trading only, as I said last week, if you're only trading in the spot market, or just alone even perpetual futures, or just CME futures, you're trading blind. You have to know what institutions are doing, how they view the market, and how they're going to price in the options market with Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'll also tell you, from what I'm seeing, using real market data from the CME via Rhythmic, I can assure you that both Bitcoin and Ethereum are very high volume instruments traded in options. So they have a huge impact on the markets. And the only way to trade Bitcoin now, specifically for Bitcoin and Ethereum, you have to, without a doubt, you have to get into the mindset of these big firms. And the only insight you get is from the options market via the CME. Everything else is just guessing, okay? You're trading blind, because Binance is driven by Asians, and that's going to be during the Asian overnight markets to us in the East Coast of North America. And that's who's driving that, and that's going to be either on Binance or maybe Bybit. And I'm pretty shocked on Bybit, the volumes on Bybit. When I looked at the overall volume of Coinbase and even Kraken, they're a pittance to what Bybit is. And then when you add in Binance, its volume, it's huge. It's like probably the biggest one with everything else combined. Like probably Binance is just as big as the rest of them. So understand that. So the only way, true successful way to trade crypto is via options market, because the options market is what drives price discovery in Bitcoin. Any other way, you're just like guessing. And if you're using Hopium as your strategy for any form of crypto, sorry, that's why a lot of these Bitcoin bros ended up working at McDonald's, let alone if they can get a job or not. But I hate saying that. I mean, I know it's a rant, but I'm just trying to set reality from what I'm seeing. And again, I'm using real market data from that in the CME. And the other thing is CME data now for Bitcoin and is now bigger than Binance and Bybit at certain times, depending upon if a lot of the firms are going to use Bitcoin as a hedge or arbitrage. And out of that also, they analyze both the relationship of Ethereum Bitcoin, and also they will deploy specifically the futures the institutions will also use and analyze inflow and outflow of the big ETFs on, let's say, Bitcoin, like the IBIT from BlackRock or iShares. So it's another way they analyze that. Crypto-rific, how you doing? Thanks for all your awesome quotes. Welcome to conference time. I have Hopium. I sure hope I get a winning Python algo. If you follow what I'm doing, no matter what you want to trade, you can use the futures market, specifically in the CME, to build out dynamic bots. I mean, I can get up to 3 different Bitcoin bots in options and futures from one set of news at any point that the CME is open. And the only time it's open is when it's, 5 to 6 Chicago time? 4 to 5 Chicago time. Every other, from Monday to Friday, it's open. And the other thing is that they will extend it out to Saturday and Sunday. So they do have a goal to get 24/7 as well. How much is the CME data feed? Well, as I mentioned before, if you go with a futures broker that supports it, which they usually do, it's either Rhythmic or CQG for the data. A futures broker, you could pay as low as $40 just for the futures data. I'm also adding in the API as well for Rhythmic, and that's another $100. It's still a lot cheaper than just using Data Bento, which is data only, and that's $190 with the options. But with CME, you get both options and futures for the CME, and you can add on other exchanges as well if you want. Aaron, does that mean options data on BTC can provide an edge to trading the underlying? Absolutely, because as I said earlier, the options market is giving you the forward-looking data that impacts both the futures and the spot market of Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's the options market that shows you open interest, and they are, believe me, they are analyzing to their teeth with all the different Greek analysis as well, and that's 100% forward-looking. Because everybody trades either what's happened in the past with their back testing, or they look at what's going on in the market. No. It's forward-looking and only forward-looking, unfortunately. DMAS B, do you code your bots to consider difference in volume between CME, Binance, and Bybit and such? No, I let the AI do it. So I guess I haven't heard your name before, but basically the synopsis is this. We are in an extremely volatile market right now. That's been predicted for months. So we're there now. It's going to be even more volatile tomorrow with the news coming out tonight with what's going on in Iran. But the idea here is you want to trade off of short-term news events to kind of be able to trade and build bots built around those news events. So what I've got is a set of bots that can be dynamically built in Python based upon those news events. And then I could test them and deploy them if I want quickly. Right now, because it's all done with Claude, to build out the end-to-end process from downloading the news and building the bots and the completion with all the analysis done, it's now taking an hour, okay? But the detail of it is very, very meticulous. This thing can build bots specifically in Bitcoin and with the options trading over the biggest one I've seen was about 1,600 lines. And that's again dynamically built because of the AI. And it's very sophisticated with Claude. But then I have a prior version which only uses Codex, and that can take as little as half an hour. So it depends upon how detailed you want to go. So, but to answer your question specifically, the AI determines what is built from the bot perspective. So it's all built around liquidity, and it's also using volume as the top priority. And as I said before, usually the ones that I'm seeing that are prioritized that gets generated, it's either going to be energy, obviously what's going on in Iran or Iran. Crypto comes up a lot, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and combinations of both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Plus, there's not so much gold in there as well. I don't know why, but you think gold would be in there. And also treasury, okay? And again, this is all driven by what the institutions and how they're trading. I'm also starting to see a bit of agriculture because I've mentioned this before, where the oil trade and how oil has pretty well doubled in price in the last month since this war started. So what's happening now is eking into the market, futures market specifically, is agricultural products are becoming the new thing to invest into because they know there's most likely going to be a shortage of food. So all of the base agricultural products, be it soybean, corn, and the like, those are what's getting bought up now in terms of the futures market because that's where the profit will be down the line. And any byproduct coming out of the energy as well because of, potentially shortages or dare I say, no more. So this is how it's playing out right now, what I'm seeing. Aaron Sharma, you would have done awesome on jet fuel. I'm going to be honest with the jet fuel trade. I saw it 2 weeks before it even went into mainstream. I've not looked at what's in the mainstream right now, but I will say this, and I'm seeing it among all the doomsayers on YouTube. As I said, the hot commodities over the long run will be anything related around food because of the shortages potentially coming, because of lack of fertilizer, and so on and so forth. I'm keeping my eye on that. I remember seeing it on your reprint. Right, yeah, because it's one of them in the analytics. But with the options, it's kind of weird because it's not doesn't expand into detail as it used to. But you can clearly see in the option space, if you look at the options now on these reports that are getting posted, you can see what firms are doing and how they're judging risk, and it's better to trade this way because there's more focus on options because what it is now projecting with options, the probability of an extreme collapse in this area, the probability of that, the probability, if there's a peace deal with Iran, they'll measure the probability of that. So that's all taken care of in the analysis by the AI. And then strategies come from that. And then the AI, because how I prompt it, will measure out all of the probability for you and build out bots for you. As I said, if you go to my website, quantlabsnet.com, I'll be posting sample reports of it. I think people will be blown away on how sophisticated this is. And you can listen to all your Bloomberg and listen to all your CNBC. They do not go into the analysis of options in the futures and options space at all. So just to put that out there for you. So anybody else got questions or comments? But this is how sophisticated things are going. If you want to survive in this market, be really successful, you have to look at forward-looking data. If you're looking, especially if you're doing backtesting is going to be like a thing of the past. The way the markets are moving and how and more AI comes into play on how a lot of these big firms are using AI to deploy, and the markets get impacted by it. And order flow gets impacted by it. So when you have the order flow impacted by it, it's going to be the hot capital order flow you need to watch and be able to project where it's going to go. So I've already hinted at it's looking to go into agricultural product as well, like down the line. And right now it's energy, and I'm not seeing so much gold, not so much silver, bots performing at all. It's because of the crazy volatility in both those instruments. Okay, now people say, well, it's manipulated. It might be, but I think the time has come and gone on how silver and gold has peaked. Now, would I put money into either gold or silver? No. I would rather put money into where the market will go. As I said, right now, after the oil trade and the energy trade, it's looking to be more food product, if that means anything. So who's got questions and comments on any of that? This is why it's so critical. If you want to optimally, like I said before, if you want to fight your inflation, which is coming, it's already what? Gas is already up 50%. If you want to fight it and get your money back from it, you go into the futures and options trade and invest in those instruments, and you profit from them. So they help you circumvent the extra prices you're paying at the pump or in food costs. This is how you do it to fight that inflation. Is profit off of those moves in the futures and options space. People don't think that like that. You might be able to get a little bit of return with stocks that focus on those areas, but you won't get the scale as you would as if you were in the futures and options market. I cannot stress that, because I'm sure a lot of people are kind of potentially bleeding money right now, because you have to remember, like if I'm in Canada and my currency is going down, my income doesn't change. I'm not going to get automatic raises from a job to help stabilize my earning potential. Meanwhile, everything else is going up. So I'm actually losing my spending power as my Canadian dollar goes down. And when food costs and energy costs are going up as well, that's another big, huge thing against you. And the only way to really balance it out and stabilize it is with futures and options trading, profitable and consistently profitable as well. Cryptorific, is Claude trading the news based on public knowledge of trading tactics trained on, and you just give the data? I've been hyper focused on providing private trading strategies to my AI. Okay, there's two answers there. So does Claude trade the news based on public knowledge of trading tactics to trade on and just give it to the data? Okay, if you're following what I'm doing on the news feeds, with the news feeds, it's always specific areas that I focus on. And again, that's going to be, what are the big hedge funds trading and how are they trading it in the futures and options space? So out of that, you start to see how these firms are trading, how they're measuring the risk of what they are looking at, and how they're actually deploying capital using options and futures. So you're able to suss out strategies from that. You can try to do that as a human. I think it's next to impossible. And that's where the bots come in. But as I said before, the bots are dynamically generated based upon the news. Okay, meaning you can build out trading bots in Python, even in C++, based upon a report. You can go into Claude, any AI, okay? You can go into any AI model, any AI LLM, and ask that AI to give you strategies, coding strategies, coded up strategies, or bots from that analysis, like a PDF or whatever. If you want the best quality of code, the only one that can do it really well is Claude Opus 4.6. You can somewhat do pretty good with Claude Sonnet 4.6, but if you apply that same analysis with Claude Haiku 4.5, you will see a big difference. And remember, Claude Haiku is the lowest level of all the Claude models. And Claude Haiku might be as good, maybe better than Codex, the latest from Codex. That's how advanced and how far along Claude is compared to anything competitor-wise. And me and this friend tried to generate the same prompting with the new DeepSeek 4 in their chat mode. And it's so watered down, it's not even worth doing, to be honest. So Claude is it, unfortunately. So again, from Aaron, thanks for all the questions, man. And thanks for everybody asking. On HFT code, is the IBKR product for 52, does it have some of the info from the IBKR product? Just checking. Half asleep here. I know you're in the UK, and I appreciate you being up. To answer your question, the lower price product I just put out is just a bunch of coding samples, how to set up everything that you already got. The pricier one you're mentioning is just has another 3 extra PDFs built around career. The only HFT components you'll find in there are just interview questions related around high frequency trading from a career job interview perspective. But you can use those prompts to apply them to your code base that you generate. So those are just some examples. But the whole purpose of those interview questions, just to give you what HFT firms are asking people in interview questions. And it goes up to the most sophisticated type of questions. And these are actual questions from the top trading firms, the $1 billion plus, where they ask questions. If you are the lead of a tech division in this firm built around that, all role-playing portfolio analysis and optimization and allocating, and what strategies you use. And then there's the other one where it asks there's sample questions in there as if you were a portfolio manager from the same types of firms. The $50 million guys I mentioned earlier, and it just gives you some sampling you can use in the AI to ask, and then ask the AI to code up things like that. So you can do that if you're going to use Claude, specifically either the latest version of Claude Sonnet or the latest version of Claude Code. So you can use those as reference to get yourself into that mindset. Those same PDFs in the career offer the templates that you can get to use as a guide to help you prepare for those type of interviews. So if you understand those interviews and the questions that you'll be asked, over time you can get yourself in that mindset how to apply that AI prompting to build up the kind of systems you want. That's how I'd look at it, if that makes sense. So it can be useful. Just some examples in those PDFs on what the trading firms ask you in the more senior roles that, as I said, could be tech leads or portfolio managers and senior portfolio managers as well. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to watch this later on. So Aaron asks, the data and the way you've used AI, could we tap into a source as the future as part of the Quant Lab group? Yes, absolutely. And if you get access to my elite stuff, I have like 300 Python coding samples, and I've spent days analyzing what quant trading firms are doing in their coding, and that all came from the leading quant trading conference out of London in the fall, as a hint of that. So I've built out at least 100 different coding projects for that in my elite membership. So you could use that as reference as well. So that's a big yes there. Aaron says that's clever, makes sense. Some gold nuggets there. Yes. It just depends upon how motivated you are. Again, with this new stuff from the HFT code, it's to cover even the new people as well. So if that makes sense. Because the idea here is, you've been on a few of these, Aaron, on people are asking questions. How do I get started? So I've designed this thing for people that are new to this, okay? Starting not zero, but they have to have some Python knowledge. But you can kind of, with the way AI is now rolling out, you can use Python and learn in parallel. It just, if you're motivated enough. And I think, as I said, you don't want to become, the concept of useless eaters, look it up. You don't want to become one of them. So people may be forced to be using stuff like this because, as I said, you just don't want to be classified as a useless eater a year from now, especially if you live in Canada. As I said, look up what a useless eater is. Anybody else got any comments or questions? At all. Again, when I say useless eaters, I'm not saying this is a scaremongering, but the reality is I've already mentioned the food thing, inflation thing, and you're earning a job and have an income with a falling currency. Your earning power goes down. Just alone on that, let alone all the other forces that you're up against in terms of inflation and food costs and energy costs now, thanks to, well, you know who. But we'll leave it at that. Cryptorific, are you going to stick with IBKR? No. My primary focus is on Rhythmic, but as I said earlier, I'm not sure if you joined, I can add in ETF calls and even some stock calls as well with Interactive Brokers for, we'll call it equity, because not a lot of people want to trade in futures and options because it is difficult. So there'd be that other path where you can still benefit by getting calls, automated calls for ETFs and maybe even some stocks. So I can do that as well. And the only one broker I'll support is Interactive Brokers because they're honest and they have the best global support. I just don't want to get involved with platforms and corrupted brokers or brokers that are too expensive or brokers. They're just not honest. Like that sell order flow back to these HFT firms, and you ask yourself why you're not making money. I've talked about that enough as well. So Interactive Brokers doesn't do any of that. The only broker that makes sense to be part of, if you're really serious at this level, is Interactive Brokers. So that's probably the only one I'll support, along with Rhythmic. And Rhythmic can pretty well be chosen by a lot of the popular futures brokers out there, and most of them are U.S. based, and they take pretty well anyone if with a certain amount of money, not much, 1,500, and you're off to the races. And willing to spend money on the data at least, and if you can, take full advantage of the API as well. As I said, that's $140. So be able to trade in the CME space among other future exchanges throughout the world and do pretty good. There. Anybody else got any questions? We haven't even talked about currencies on how they're projected to play out in terms of profit. So you can trade those as well. Again, same concept with options. If things get really bad, you still always have currencies, be it the euro, the Japanese yen, also the sometimes Canadian dollar comes up with the energy trade. The DXY, which is kind of moving up now. I even asked my portfolio folks if it's just safe to sit it out in U.S. dollar because it's moving up now. And it was 2022 that we confirmed last week. Everything went down, but if you just do nothing in U.S. dollar, you could probably make a good return. So I asked my guys about it, and they just gave me this, very long, drawn-out answer. But it's just something to also watch as well, how the U.S. dollar plays out. And maybe you can leverage off of those opportunities as well with the options from the U.S. dollar alone. And remember, you also have VIX as well. That is doing quite well. Right now, what I'm currently trading, simulated trading, I might add, is the overnight interest rate on the euro dollar. Now, if you have a big enough count, you could trade that as well. But unfortunately, right now, it's taking a loss. But I could probably regenerate everything and just see if there's opportunities in the SOFR, which is the overnight euro dollar interest overnight, and trade that potentially, and VIX as well. I mean, just look at today's metrics on the April 7th. A lot kind of went down, but if you look at VIX, it went up 8% just today alone. So remember that, and you could do quite well if you project that in the options space as well. So hour and 13 minutes. Wow, I've been blabbing. Thank you very much for being part of this. Anybody else got questions, comments as well? We're here to serve thee. Appreciate everybody being here. As I said, everything's going to go up now that I've added those options and chain stuff. It's hard to get. I mean, try to do it on Interactive Brokers. I've tried it. It's not very good. It's delayed. But the best one, if you're going to do option chains in the future space on CME, you'd want to be with Rhythmic. for sure. The other thing is with Rhythmic, you get access to a lot more exchanges. As I've mentioned before, you get access to the Eurex, London, LME for other metals that may do well. There's some commodities like coffee, chocolate on those exchanges. And when you look at those markets, they probably can do pretty good, and you wouldn't know about it because nobody talks about them. But right now, I'm just focused on very U.S. specific, and I bring that up because when you look at WTI and Brent oil, Brent is outpacing WTI, and the only way to get onto Brent is being on ICE, the Intercontinental Exchange, as well, because that's not part of the CME ecosystem. So that's a separate subscription I could get if I wanted for Brent oil futures and options as well. And there's some other metals in there as well for the LME. So just putting some things out there for you. And of course, there's the ETF specific around these types of markets, but the volume might not be there. Not compared to a futures market or an options market for the real McCoy, we'll call it. If you got questions, let me know. So, as I mentioned before, if let's say you have no income at all for job, future, career, whatever, there are consistently crypto strategies that do come up. There's lots of opportunities with the Ethereum Bitcoin relationship and being able to put together and implement different types of option strategies for either and or Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm seeing that now, and that can be quite dependable, depending upon what the institutions do with those types of opportunities, we'll call them. But you have to know about them. And if they're actually profitable or not is another story as well. But I am seeing more and more of that in the last week or so for crypto traders. But I've already talked about retail and spot market. Altcoins, I think, are there, but just the volumes is not there. And the only volume I'm seeing that's legit is on Binance. And then the question is, do you want to trade on Binance with what's gone on there based upon the past, where it can be, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but can be manipulated, can be blah, blah, blah. Whereas the CME, it's, I'll say 90% honest, and it's heavily regulated as well. Anybody got comments or questions on any of this stuff? Okay, so we're coming up to an hour and a quarter. If there's no more questions, I'll gladly drop off, but we'll pick it up next Tuesday, normal time, as well. Who's got questions? Who's got comments? Who's got what? No, maybe? I don't know. As I said, I'm going to do some videos on all this stuff, including these new HFT code things as well. I think people need to see the actual videos on what it looks like and what can be done with it as well. I'll just say, if you've got my prior versions of these things and throw in Claude coding or Claude code with VS Code, just think of it as amplifying with a pile of steroids. It's powerful compared to what if you're using the Kilo AI. But if you're willing to spend the money on the AI, it can really have a lot of powerful results. And if you know how to use it and you know how to prompt it properly, then you're off to the races. And I think with all the PDFs I've supplied and that HFT code stuff, you'll get a good idea on how to prompt now, specifically if it's career, and you can apply that career stuff to your actual trading and what you want as well. And you can see how sophisticated it is, and you use model like Claude Opus, latest, highest end model from Claude. Yeah, and then just compare the same result to Haiku. It's night and day difference. And most models out there are at best to the Haiku, which is the lowest grade Claude. And the other thing, as I mentioned as well, DeepSeek 4 could be a big disappointment. I don't know. We'll see the way it's been tested out. So I'm not holding my breath on that. But, you know, if Claude 5 comes out, that's a different story. I think that will be light years ahead of everybody else, the Claude 5 as well. So who's got questions? Who's got comments? Let me know. Let me know. If not, I'll do it going once, three times and all that, and we'll end it. So if you got comments, questions, let me know ASAP. Just even type a letter so I know that you're wanting to throw in a comment or question. So I'll start with a going once. I hate doing this. I really do. Going once. Oh, crypto. What's my next focus after the options? To optimize everything. Cryptorific, to optimize everything and improve it, make it more profitable consistently. That's what I'm after. I mean, with the options, it's, you know, I'm still debugging it, to be honest. And I just don't think any platform can do it. Trading platform can do it. The only way you can do it is through an API and with Python. Unfortunately, it's just like when you look at option chain data, how sophisticated and how complicated it is, being able to choose the right chain, to be able to see which one's the most optimal for future and potential profit, and so on. It's a very difficult process, but I'm hoping to accomplish something for sure. But that's the next focus. Deborn, thank you. Really good content. Thanks for the live. No problem. If you got any other questions, let me know. Come back next Tuesday and or join the quantlabsnet.com membership. I keep forgetting to also add in Discord. We've been adding a lot of Discord people now on the Quant Labs server. So we're, I think, over 320. So get on there. That's the whole purpose is the community. Cryptorific, you can backtest algos, but how you easily run news trading backtest. I think the point here is we need to get out of the concept of do we need backtesting now? Or how do we define the next stage of backtesting? So in my mind, backtesting is you have an idea, you run against past data, 80% of a data set, then you use another 20% for forecasting. That's classic backtesting. With the way the markets are, I just don't know if we can sit here and say we've got this one algorithm that can be used in this market regime and will do really well with a static algorithm in a static market. I don't think static markets exist anymore because of the volatility. And the key word, it's unpredictable volatility. So therefore, if it's not static, the only way to trade is to build out dynamic trading strategies. So that whole notion of static and building backtesting processes around that may not be valid anymore. So the only way we can quote unquote backtest is by doing what I'm planning to do and have been doing. And it works great. If you're just trading futures, you can deploy these dynamically generated trading bots, run them for 15 minutes, half an hour. You will clearly know what is profitable and what is not. Once you know what's profitable, you can build out an agent to say, if this trading strategy that you're simulating, quote unquote backtesting, if you want to call it that, it's more simulating. If it's profitable after a certain number of metrics, automatically move this into a trading environment that's live trading with live money. So that's the goal. And that's more simulating and not really classic backtesting. So what happens is if we're simulating instead of backtesting, are we backtesting in the traditional sense anymore? I think not. And with agents now and MCP servers, I just think that over time backtesting is going to be a thing of the past. And probably already is, but there's still a lot of people out there thinking quote unquote backtesting. So I think that now. I don't backtest anymore, but I simulate trading ideas and trading bots. As I said, I can automate them now. Once they hit certain conditions, profit, I can automatically move them into, as I said, a live trading environment. So that, to me, is not backtesting in that sense. Hope that answers the question. Cryptorific, the LLM just learning new things. So if you just feel it is news, you have to trust that its existing knowledge is always going to work. Yes. Well, it comes down to trust. So let's say you follow this process I'm speaking of and you see it consistently be profitable in this simulation, and you know it's profitable, and you put a little bit of money in your account and let it trade it live, and it's consistently profitable, then you know it works. So therefore, your confidence goes up and you build trust on it. So then, if that's the case, you have a complete end-to-end workflow that you can trust and be able to do live trading from. And you can automate it from step one all the way to deploying the trading bot into a live environment and hopefully profit consistently because you trust it. That's the whole point. That's why I'm spending quite literally months on this. But you don't obviously put big capital on this. Just a tiny amount to test that you, at worst case, are willing to lose. And then just try it out and just put it live money on it. And that's my next step. But I've gone all hog wild by adding these options now. It slows down everything, makes things more complicated. But once I know that there's potential with the live, simulated trading options with the chains, then I know. But it's very sophisticated. Not sophisticated. It's very, it just takes the complication of just from futures only and it amplifies it by probably times 10 in terms of complexity to get the thing working. I just hope that, but it's all about building trust and confidence from the process, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. You got any other questions? Either D.B. Bourne or Aaron or Cryptorific. DMAS BS, do you have live money riding on your bots? I've had, about 2 months ago, nothing was getting triggered on the entries at all. Because the markets are volatile, the markets are unpredictable, so trying to trigger live entries have not been accomplished. That's why I'm now adding in the options to raise that potential of live trading entries. So I've made the attempt, serious attempts for a good couple of weeks. So that's why I've added the options to try to raise that probability of getting live entries. But once I'm there, I'm back to live trading and praying that it happens. And when the markets are right now losing money as they are, and the high percentage of trading potential bots that are losing money, the probability of finding profitable trading bots right now with the crazy unpredictable volatility becomes even harder. That's another challenge as well. But I'm making the attempt. Cryptorific, could you trade like this if you were working at a hedge fund? No. You can't. Because you have to think of it this way. If you're at a hedge fund and you come up with trading ideas, remember, they own you. They're paying you to come up with trading ideas. So what happened at Goldman Sachs, there's all these quants coming up with these literal billion-dollar trading ideas. And Goldman Sachs wouldn't pay traders appropriately, and they give them a pittance as a bonus for the kind of returns their trading ideas come up with. So there was about a number of years ago where they got kind of annoyed at that. But again, that's the problem of having a job. Like when somebody's paying you to come up with ideas, they own you. They own all your ideas. And it's not like you can go, I have a great idea, I'm going to go to the competition because they'll pay me better, treat me better. You can't do that either because there's this thing called non-disclosure agreements. And some of them may enforce you where you can't go to the competition for 6 months, maybe a year. And it's going to get worse as there's fewer jobs as well. So those conditions will get tighter and more restraining. But if you're a free agent doing this independently, obviously you have no restrictions. So that is one of the big advantages of being an independent. I mean, there's a lot more involved, no different than being with a futures trading prop firm or prop shop. They give you the infrastructure, you come up with the idea, but you're still kind of able to not have to hand over your intellectual property and your trading ideas. But lo and behold, which a lot of people don't know, behind the wall of all the trading, there are people actually trying to reverse engineer your trading strategies and your entries and exits. And they could probably do it with sophisticated AI now as well. That's another problem as well. So you have to be very, very careful of that. Who is the target market for the elite group? Cryptorific. Yes, you're probably asking about the price of a car. My target market are the firms that want the service, the ideas. So it's the firms and the family offices. And there's so many out there. So that's why it's priced the way it is, because it's very valuable information in there. Right now, I'm trying to rope in as many beginners, motivated beginners, as possible. As I said, I will be getting rid of my booking service, so I'll be less accessible outside of these live streams. And trying to say I'm building out valuable stuff based upon the data and all that. Trying to get people in before I start making myself less and less accessible as well. So, and as I said earlier, because of the type of data and analysis I'm bringing in with the real option chain data from the futures market, becomes more valuable. So that's who I'm trying to focus on. And then there's other services with high frequency trading shops that will pay you for trading signals as well. If you have consistently good trading signals, these firms will pay you big money or give you a cut on their profit based upon your trading signals as well. So there are firms that will pay that as well. So it's kind of generic right now, but over time, I'm sure I'll be able to find the paying customers that I'm targeting. If that, I'm hoping that answers your question, Cryptorific. But everything right now, in my mind's fairly cheap, like really cheap. Because when you look at some of the other, like for instance, I just can't remember that letter. there's a website really well known on Twitter X, some letter service that you pay $600 a month for firms, and they just give you one chart a day. That's it. One and maybe 2 or 3 reports a month that nobody else gets. There's that other guy, I can't remember, he's out of Hawaii. He charges $2,000 for one report. And if you looked at the analysis that I have in my PDFs, and it's very unique. As I said, you can't get these with the trading firms at all or any of the big news outlets. I would think it's valuable because it's AI generated based upon news across all major asset classes in the futures market. And it's generated right on the spot. So for moving forward, it's valuable. So it's expensive. So I might charge and treat it as a newsletter sort of thing or an advisory. And those advisories are very expensive. Some of them are thousands upon thousands per year and per month. And that's just advisories, let alone giving the technology, showing people how to build these automated processes as well. So I kind of know my keep, and I'm not going to sit here and boast about it, but over time, and I'm going to put out some reports again on LinkedIn with what I had with certain ones get 15,000 views and hit the right market. So that's what I'm planning to do. Yeah, I've seen Perplexity puts out a big report. Yeah, I heard about that. Perplexity is pretty sophisticated. And Perplexity is trying to find niches so that they can stay relevant. Supposedly there was one article with the Perplexity computer product supposed to be better than the Claude 4.6 Opus. Personally, I highly doubt that. I've tried Perplexity many ways, and it's such at least the AI and what it generates is so far behind the times. I'm constantly looking at new AI, and a lot of it's just not up to par. All the free stuff is just, I mean, if you're just building some little business website, the free AI is great for the coding. But if you're trying to build sophisticated type of analysis using things like live trading in an option chain in a futures market, all the output is so watered down, the code is so watered down, and that, as I said, that's also including the new DeepSeek 4, at least in the chat mode. It's very watered down. So if you want really quality output, high quality output, the only one, as I said, is Claude. And as I said, I've already just today or yesterday doubled my AI budget because I know it's so expensive, but that's how serious I'm getting with it. Because I'm seeing the difference in many ways, my reports, my code, blah, 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 blah. So hopefully I'll help you out. But Perplexity is good for searching, for general research. But if you want to compare the output, Claude is by a long shot beats everything, including Codex. I mean, look at Microsoft. Their AI is kind of a joke because they're losing so much market share and market value because their Copilot's kind of worthless. I mean, they're trying to keep up with the market, but they can't with Claude and Anthropic right now. It could change anytime. 200 a month, Claude, not enough. No, not at all. I could spend $40 in one day easily if I'm constantly using Claude. Opus, especially if I'm debugging all this option chain stuff. And as I said earlier, anything I've been doing for almost a year and a half now with the AI, this is the most challenging. I mean, I've already spent, let me think here, about $150 in AI costs just to debug what I've got. And I'm still nowhere done. And now I'm wanting to build out high quality reports as well, because I want people to pay for them and get some really rock solid value out of them. And the only ones that deliver that is Claude, unfortunately. So as I said, I'm pretty serious, and it's not 200 a month now. I'm now going to be spending over 300 Canadian, probably 350 Canadian a month. I'm trying to really watch a lot of my costs, obviously. But I'm banging out so much code now. I'm banging out so many reports. And the real big cost is the debugging on all these bots. But to be able to sit here and say, I have the capability to generate 12 bots from news on sensitive news and build out key, again, I keep saying dynamic bots. And be able to build out now bots that are 1,500 lines in Python that run flawlessly out of the gate. I'd like to see somebody else kind of say the same. But because I've spent so much money on it to get it to this point, to me, it's worth it. Absolutely, 100%. Because I'm banging out the quality of a lot of big trading desks. Big trading firms, for sure. Because I can analyze the news. I could just put in a command, run one Python script, and they'll go through, and it'll take 1 hour using Claude. Take 1 hour. So it'll download the news, build 12 trading bots with full-on reports that go with it flawlessly. All sensitive data, all in 1 hour. And think about it 2 years ago, how much it would cost to generate this and how much time it would cost as well. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I'm very, very serious at what I do. So, there. I'm not going to sit here and brag about it because it's not worth it. And there will be trolls that target you as well, as I said earlier, with that so-called, well, he was, but he's an ex-BlackRock senior director in AI and quant. So that's probably why he's trolling me, because he realizes his business, he's done. I mean, he's kind of like, if people can generate what I'm generating, what makes him special? What makes him special in terms of what he probably wants to get paid? He's probably out of, not business, but he becomes, well, he's already irrelevant. That's been proven. So that's something that personally I don't have to deal with. But we're at that point now. Just know how to prompt. And I'm trying to help people out there, but you got to be motivated. That's all I can say. Just be motivated at all levels. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people will be forced to be motivated because you don't want to be a useless eater. How many times have I said useless eater now on this stream? 5 times? Look it up. Look up what a useless eater and what the history of the useless eater. If you have to, look up on Urban Dictionary. Might be the best spot to go. So, so don't forget, I'm on Discord now. Got 300 people on there now. It's pretty good. Okay, hour and 40 minutes. That's awesome. I love you guys being on this. I really do. So if you guys got questions or comments, let me know. Otherwise, I'll do the going once, twice, 3 times. As I said, I'm over time, I'm trying to become less accessible because I'm learning the values when I go silent and being less accessible. If that makes sense. It's the Machiavellian way, apparently. Who's got questions and comments? So I'll do it going once. If you guys got questions, just type them up. Even put a letter in there. I'll do the 1,000s a little longer, and I'll wait too. So I'll do hour 40 minutes, pretty good. So let's do the going once, maybe potentially wrap her up. So if you got a question, type it up now, please, 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 please. We'll do it going 1,000, 1 million. Going 2 million. Going 2.5 million. Okay, so this might be it. Going 3 million. Okay, so let's wrap her up. As I said, next week, I've been wanting to do a stream on the results of everything so far. I have to get the option chain stuff working. Deepash asked, do I really go the Machiavelli? No, it's not the way of Machiavelli. I don't know if that's the right way to look at it. The whole approach, what I'm talking about is, supposedly when you go silent and you're not heard from for weeks or months, the value, people going, what are you doing? Are you still active? Blah, 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 blah. That's what I'm meaning. I'm not saying, I don't think I want to be like that because I like being online and talking to people. People ask, why do I do this? Because I like helping people. I really do. And communicating with people. But as I said, also though, as I'm building out the value of stuff, if you got a question, let me know. We can keep going. But as I said, if I keep doing things, I've been doing this for a very long time, 15 years, pretty in around there. When you make yourself more available, people will take you for granted, okay? Because you're always out there. Whereas if you become less accessible, people will then go, oh, he's ignoring, or he's not making himself accessible. Because what happens is I'm given these expectations from people that want stuff for free. And I know my value. And I'm going to be at a point where, I'm already at a point where I ignore a lot of stuff. Because everyone wants stuff for free. Everyone wants to know how to do things from the start. They have no experience. My approach is very simple. With the new stuff I just put up on that hftcode.com, if people don't want to spend the, $40, $50, $60 to learn, why would I take you seriously? I have no need to take you seriously. Not just that, but then you have to ask yourself, do you take yourself seriously? If you're not willing to spend a little bit of money to instantly get something that gets you started right away, and just use AI, and then there's a bunch of documents in there to show you how to prompt, and you're not willing to make that little tiny investment, who's going to take you seriously? And the other question is, why would I take you seriously? Because if you're just tire kicking, that only goes so far in life. And as I said before, I think we're going to get to a point where the AI is killing off all the jobs, killing off all the careers with what's going on in Iran. As of tonight, we don't know if we'll be still producing oil, energy. We see the implications there and the potential of food, blah, 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 blah. We don't know. So the only things that you have to rely on as for income and predictable income is either trading or running some kind of online business. And believe me, if they say go into medical, go into trades, you think you're the only one getting into trades, you'll be joining a long line, and what happens again? The race to the bottom. So unless you have entrepreneurial skills, developing some kind of consistent income from it, maybe e-commerce, I don't know, or the only other real option you have is trading. And with trading, with certain types of strategies you can come up with, it can reduce a lot of the external dependencies to where you're not depending upon news and you're not depending upon the economy. So the more dependency you can get rid of in your trading, specifically it's automated, the better you shall be. And lots of people are doing it. They're just not telling you about it. They're not online talking about it. And the ones that do are probably, they have nothing to show for it. There's no verified track record, blah, 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 blah. So there's that. So hopefully you see that perspective from my point of view. Other than that, if you've got a question or comment, let me know. I'd be glad to follow up on that. And again, it's not about ego, it's about surviving. I think we will come to a point where we will be forced to economically survive. In fact, we may go into like a Mad Max environment as well. We don't know. Imagine a world with no energy and what people will do. What will people do when it comes to, well, I can't get food? And I don't know. That's why I put the little tin foil hats on the locally bought bananas. It's humorous, but you just don't know. You just don't know. We may wake up tomorrow morning and realize what just went down as well. So I don't know. But we can talk about that next week if you want. If you guys got questions or comments, let me know. I'll do another going once, twice, 3 times, and we'll end it. If you got something else you want to ask, let me know or comment on. So, and when I say Machiavellian, I'm not meaning the evil way. I'm just trying to talk about like taking less exposure online, being less accessible. That's what I'm talking about. The Machiavellian way is part of that, I think, even though that's not the right comparison, I don't think. Anyways, leave it at that. So I'll do another going once, twice, 3 times, all that. We'll call it a day, night, wherever you are. So going once, 1 million, going 1 million. If you got, just type up something, like a letter or something, so I know you want to talk. Going 2 million, going 2.5 million, maybe going 3 million. Okay, let's formally wrap her up. As I said, next week I'll be online again Tuesday. Next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, if you want to get a 50% discount code on the 2 new things I just put up on hftcode.com, go to my website right now, quantlabsnet.com. Get on the email list because I'll be blasting the 2 codes out tomorrow, and those 2 discount codes will only be live for 2 days. So they've been pre-programmed to end midnight, Friday night, my time, Eastern Standard. So just letting you know as well. And as I said, everything else is going to be going up quite a bit as well. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, and over and out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of this. Thanks for all your awesome questions. Over and out. Later. Bye-bye.